Good morning and welcome to the 52 weeks of scrapbooking. My name is Denise Cowell and thanks for joining me today. We are on project recipe 47. So remember, if you don't have the book, you can go to my VIP, nope, not the VIP one. You need to go to the Scrapbook with Denise Facebook group and I will have the original project recipe there. And let's just look at it. So the original project recipe is a s'more memories. The one that's in the book is using Go Fetch. Now I have the s'mores one done from a long time ago, from April 2021, and wanted to show that I changed this one up. Let me get some stuff off my desk here. I did change this one up a bit. If you look at the project recipe, it has the two pictures, horizontal and the vertical one. And then it has a bunch of 3x3s along the bottom. Because of the way my pictures went, I did follow the project recipe. You can see that I have the 3x3s along the bottom, but I've reversed the pages. And so I changed the border up a little bit so that I could kind of go through from the morning or the afternoon through to when the sun set. Otherwise, the pictures wouldn't have been in the right order. So I did change it up a little bit. Again, this is just a recipe to follow. You can change it to work whatever you want. You can see that this page is pretty much set up the same. The right side that I used on the left. It's this one that I changed up a little bit to get my pictures to work on this layout. Sorry, excuse me. So let's go take a look in the book. There, use Go Fetch. And I just want to check. Let's make sure that the cutting guides are the same. So perfect. So that in case you are using the project recipe that I've uploaded, that you have the correct sizes that we're going to use today. Just excuse me 1 second. Just needed to get rid of that frog in my throat. So you're going to need 2 sheets of designer paper for the background. Now in S'more Memories they use different ones. I use different ones also, not the same ones that are in that project recipe. I did use one of them. And then the one for Go Fetch, they use the same background papers. Then you're going to need 2 designer papers and a cardstock. So I'm not going to use Go Fetch, but I was going to continue making some pages for my mom's book. And actually I am using Go Fetch. I thought I was using a different one. I'm using Go Fetch, but with Go Fetch there was 6 designer papers in one package, and then 6 designer mats, and these were all 6 different colors with mats on one side and designs on the back side. If I follow exactly like they had here, they actually used 5 of the 6 designer papers for the Go Fetch. So I'm not going to do that. I've got some other options out. So the option that they have here is to use these 2 blue gingham ones for the background. I just pulled out some blue cardstock, and when we put it together we're going to see if the blue cardstock will save me these 2 sheets of not having to use them. So we'll put those aside. I am going to use the icons, the little footprints and bones, so they use it where the green is. So this is going to be my designer paper number 1, and they are using both sides, to the mats as well as this border here, A and B, these borders along the bottom. So I'm going to still use that. The next one is just for the mats. So they use this yellow, and I do like the way the yellow pops out. So we have a couple options. We have this option is what they used, and that one is from the designer paper. It has little tennis balls on the back. There is also a yellow in the mats that is also an option to use, because this way it saves me, I might not use these mats, so we'll pick which yellow we want. So the yellow will be designer paper number 2. Now designer paper number 3 if you look at J and K along the bottom here, they're using the second sheet of this paper. I don't really want to do that. So a couple options I thought we could do. Instead of cutting these two mats out of the back, I could use cranberry and cut more mats out of cranberry. Then I would get J and K, which is the words out of this one. Or if we don't want to use cranberry, I could use, again, this gingham that's got the mats on the back. I could use that. And these ones here that are 4x6, maybe we want to use some of these. So some things to think about for that. Maybe just using that, because they just use all the red. They don't use this icon, and I really don't want to use the second one of those icon papers. So we could either go straight with cranberry cardstock, or we can use this gingham. My thought with this gingham is it's going to make a difference as to what we use for the background, because these are both gingham. So I'm not going to cut that red quite yet until we decide, but I am going to move C and D off of that sheet. It's not going to fit here with all the other mats, because these are 6 1/4, so we'll have to kind of play around with that. But let's start. The punch, you will need a punch. The campfire was the one that I used here, and we'll talk about how this one is going to be a little bit different. So I don't have the doghouse, but I do have the paw print, so I'm going to use the paw print. So let's get started. And out of designer paper number 1, which is my paw prints, and this is non-directional. This one does go both ways, but I think it's this way. And because I'm going to get those 2 small pieces, I'm going to cut those first. So I am cutting J and K from designer paper number 1. So this is where you can take a look at the papers that you're using and see what you can move around. Don't forget, we're going to have some of this left over from designer paper number 2 that either whatever yellow we decide to use. So we're going to use our paper to the best. So because I and J are going to be going horizontally, I want to cut them this way, and we're going to cut those at 2 3/4 of an inch. And again, this is because I don't want to use all the paper that they have. 5 out of 6 sheets to create this page. Okay, so that's going to be our bottom. Now we need our 2 4-inch pieces that are going to be this brown piece. So we have 1 and 2. And this piece is extra, so that gives me another little piece of this as extra. So that's great. Let's build this to start with. Let's just build it on the cardstock as we go along to see if we like. Maybe what I'll do is I'll build one side on the cardstock and one side on the gingham. And I know I do this quite a bit because, you know, when you're putting pages together, you might be doing the same thing. Sometimes a project recipe, I look at it and I know exactly what paper I want to use, exactly what I want to do. Other times it takes a little bit of thought. So here, I and J, these word ones are going to go along the bottom, and then the icons are going to touch right up to it. And again, I'm not attaching them yet because I don't know which way we're going. Okay, so that is those 2. So now we're going to do the yellow. So the thought is, which yellow do we want to use? I'll turn this one over. We are doing 3 3x3s and 2 6.5 by 4.5. So maybe I will use the dots. I mean, you're not going to see much of this since it's matte, but I think I will use the dots. So let's get my trimmer, and we are going to cut this first at 3x3. We're going to do 3 3x3s. And see if we could, I'm going to trying to save some paper here. because this is 9. This is going to give us 3s down here. Let me cut these 6.5s first. Let's see if we can save some more paper. I mean, it's going to be the same, but I think we might get bigger pieces left. Don't know, haven't done this project recipe in a while. So we're cutting H and I first at 6.5. So we're going 6.5 by 4.5, and another 6.5 by 4.5. So this is going to leave us 3 inches. It's going to leave so a 6.5. So we should be able to get 2 of our 3 by 3s out of here. And then we just need 1 more out of this paper. And what I might just do is, let's pretend we're just doing a frame. And we're just going to cut 3 inches out of here. It's going to give us a big chunk left over. And now I just have a 3 by 3, and I have this big piece of paper, which here they show it's going to be 3 pieces. It's really bigger. I can do a lot more with this sheet. So that's extra. Let's put that aside. So those are our mats. Let's put them on. So basically we're going to have 1 over here, 2 on this side, and then 1 yellow here and 1 yellow here. And I got it looking like we can probably use the cardstock for the base. Okay, so now we need to determine what we're doing for the red. Are we going to use this gingham? And my thought is, if I'm using this blue, I think I've made a choice. I am going to save these 2 blue ginghams for another page. Let's do this one. Let me get the other blue cardstock down underneath here. When you only have so much designer paper to use, pattern paper, if you can use cardstock and it's not going to make an impact to the page you're working on, you know, somebody's going to not come along and go, oh, look at, they used cardstock and designer paper. That's not going to happen. So I got some weird shadows happening today. Sorry about that. Okay, so we've already cut I and J. Now we do need 2 4 by 6s and 3 6 by 4s, and we need this piece for a shape. So I need to think about, is there any way we can cut this to get those all out of one sheet? So I apologize. It's going to look like I jumped back in, and I did, because when I paused it to go get some cardstock, I didn't hit the unpause button. So let's talk about what I did and where we're going to go. So for paper number 3, in the book it shows designer paper. In the s'mores project recipe it shows cardstock. So I did use cardstock for that. And we have 3 6 by 6.25 by 4.25. We had our 2 that we cut from paper 2, plus our 3 3 by 3s. Now C and D, I'm going to show you when we put the page together, and you decide if you want to cut them. So let's get these laid out. So we are going to have, and I'm going to use the Go Fetch since that's what I'm doing. Out of the cardstock or designer paper number 3, here is your 2 6.25 by 4.25. We have our 2 yellow ones go over here, and then our 3rd red one there. Your 3 by 3s are going to be going at the bottom here, and I'll get the pictures and show you how that's going to work. Now for these 2 photos and these 2 pieces C and D that are 4 by 6s, these are going to double mat, and I did go back and use the red gingham that had the mats on the back, and I cut it so that I could use the mats later. But it is going to double mat these ones, and so that you could do up to, it says a 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. I only have 3.5 by 5.5. So if you want to double mat them, you can cut that. These other ones, where's the rest of my 6 by 4s? Here they are. These are going to be 6 by 4 photos, so you can use peekaboo pockets there. So if you did not want to double mat these photos, you could leave them just the yellow and put another 4x6 photo in there. So I'll do this side so you can see if I didn't double mat it, and then this side if it's double matted. So giving you the option, you could have used just cardstock for those also. And then at the bottom, we have our 3x3 photos, and you probably did not see me cut out these 3 paw prints, and the paw prints are just going to go on each one of these yellow 3x3 squares. So when we did the campfire, you can see here we actually punched the campfire punch out of the base paper and then put this one, the standalone one, on top and offset it a little bit. Now it's going to be able to see the brown between it. I don't know if that's going to work as well, but what I was going to do is look to see how you could see what other scraps I have, because if you wanted to, you could fill in some of these paws. So I'm going to get some paws in a different color and we're going to punch those. I was going to get pink, but pink, there's no pink on this page for the paws. So what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to cut some paws out of here. I'm sorry, I'm getting on camera. And I'm just going to cut one and then show you. So here's another paw. Keep that for a separate project. But what you could do is go layer these in here and create the paws with a different color. So again, lots of fussy. But if you like this look, by all means take the time to find a different color. You know, I could have gone blue maybe. But any color, and these probably aren't in the right holes because they are all different sizes, but you get the gist. So you could build those out. So again, I apologize for what you missed me seeing cut. So let's just review what I actually did here. So A and B, I did use the paws. C and D is up to you if you want to cut those. Those are going to be the double mats up here. So you could wait to see if you wanted to double mat these or not, or just put a 4x6. If you're into leaving them 4x6, by all means don't cut those. Designer paper number 2 was all the yellows, which was our 2 yellow mats and these 3x3s. So when we got down to the cardstock, and again, the book says use designer paper, your option, you can use cardstock. J and K, I cut out of this piece for number 1 because I wanted the back of that paper. And then these 3, L, M, and N, are our 3 mats here, and then I cut 3 shapes. So the only other thing they did, if you're using Go Fetch or anyone, even in the s'mores, you can see at the bottom I use the s'more border on this one from the Go Fetch. They used this dog bone, which is what I'm probably going to use along the bottom here. And then there was all these little bones, which came with the punch, but I didn't use that punch. So there are bones stickers here. There's paw print stickers. Since I use paw prints, maybe I will use the paw prints. But there's only 4. There's one with a little heart. These are bigger ones, or there are some bones if I wanted to use those. So a lot of other, sorry, didn't see all those. There are a lot of other little stickers that I could put with my paw print. So sorry for the glitch today. Hope that you get this. I'd love to see your completed page. I will post mine in the scrapbook with Denise, so I'll have my Go Fetch as well as my s'more memories that I will post up there. And thank you for joining me today. It's Thanksgiving week here in the US, so happy Thanksgiving. Happy scrapping. See you all again soon. Bye for now.